Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another very important topic. And this topic is on Ganda Moola nakshatra. Just look at the screen and try to pronounce it. People from the West may find it a little difficult to pronounce because of the wordings here. They are in Sanskrit, but Ganda Moola nakshatra. Look at the screen, and this is how you pronounce it. So, what is Ganda Moola nakshatra? Ganda Moola nakshatra is actually 6 nakshatras out of the 27 nakshatras. As we know that there are 27 nakshatras, and out of these 27 nakshatras, 6 of them have been classified as Ganda Moola nakshatra, and these nakshatras are ruled by either Mercury or Ketu. So these are the 2 planets which rule these 2 nakshatras, and it is believed that a child born in these nakshatras or constellations bring with it certain inauspicious effects. So what has been recommended by the great scholars is a remedial measure is extremely important for children who are born in these nakshatras, these Ganda Moola nakshatras, and we're going to discuss as to what effects a child brings in his life or people associated with him, like his parents or his relatives, when he or she, the child, is born in these 6 nakshatras known as Ganda Moola nakshatras. Now, there are several astrologers who believe that it's a myth. There's nothing called a Ganda Moola nakshatra, but based on my own personal experience, I have seen that yes, it makes a lot of sense, and I've seen certain through my case studies. So I will recommend astrologers who are watching this to look at this combination of Ganda Moola nakshatra, and my experience, like I said, has been that it has been pretty accurate. So the reference of Ganda Moola nakshatra has come from the ancient scriptures. Sage Parashara has described this Ganda Moola nakshatra, or people born under this Ganda Moola nakshatra very much in detail, rather. The recent scripture called Jataka Parijata has also mentioned about this combination of people born under Ganda Moola nakshatra. So what are those nakshatras, those 6 nakshatras which are called Ganda Moola nakshatras? The first is the nakshatra Ashwini. So as you know that each nakshatra out of the 27 nakshatras, if you divide it by 360 degrees, it comes to 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So each nakshatra out of the 360 degrees owns 13 degrees and 20 minutes. And the first nakshatra which comes under Ganda Moola nakshatra is the nakshatra Ashwini. And Ashwini nakshatra is represented through the sign of Aries from 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So if moon is placed in between these degrees at the time of birth, the child is said to be born in Ashwini nakshatra. And also, since Ashwini has been classified as a Ganda Moola nakshatra, he is said to be born under Ganda Moola nakshatra. Now, many scholars believe that the Ganda Moola nakshatra is extremely inauspicious, completely, meaning which that if a child is born between 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes in Ashwini, he will bring inauspicious results. But no, as we know that the nakshatras are divided into 4 parts or 4 padas, so the effects felt will be different if the child is born in different padas. Say, for example, if a child is born in the first pada, or the second pada, or the third pada, or the fourth pada, which are 4 divisions of a nakshatra, the effects will be different. And like I said, that not all the 4 parts or padas would be considered inauspicious. So we have to be very careful. Do not generalize it. Do not say that a child born in Ganda Moola nakshatras, which are these 6 nakshatras out of the 27, will have inauspicious results as a general rule. No, we have to look at the divisions, what division of that nakshatra the child is born, and then we'll determine, based on the ancient scriptures, what has been mentioned by the great sages like Parashara, and the recent scriptures like Jataka, Parijata as well, as to what part of that nakshatra is inauspicious. And sometimes certain parts or certain padas of that nakshatra, if a child is born in that, it actually is auspicious for the child and even for his relatives, close relatives. So I'm going to go in detail as to what are the effects felt under all these 6 nakshatras. So the first nakshatra, like I mentioned, is when this nakshatra owns the Aries sign between 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes. And in the first part of Ashwini nakshatra, if a child is born in the first part of Ashwini nakshatra, the child will have to face a lot of obstacles in his life. So remember, only the first part out of these 4 parts of this Ashwini nakshatra is inauspicious. The second part of, or a child is born in the second part of Ashwini nakshatra, actually lives a very happy and prosperous life. The third part of this, or if a child is born in the third part of Ashwini nakshatra, that also gives a lot of success in life. And the fourth stage of Ashwini nakshatra also is not inauspicious. It promises certain successes in life, however, with minor health problems. So these are coming directly from the scriptures. So we don't want to argue and doubt. All we have to do is go and check out the birth charts and see whether these effects which are mentioned by these ancient scriptures come out to be true or not. And in my case, of course, like I mentioned, it has come out to be extremely accurate. So in Ashwini nakshatra, the first part and generally the other 3 parts are auspicious. Only the first part is inauspicious. So this was about the Ashwini nakshatra's effects. The fourth part may suffer from some minor health problems, but generally only the first part of Ashwini nakshatra is considered to be extremely inauspicious. So be very careful. Do not generalize. The second Ganda Moola nakshatra out of the 6 Ganda Moola nakshatra is Maga. And Maga nakshatra, as we know, is ruled by Ketu. So all these 6 nakshatras are ruled by either Mercury or Ketu. So it becomes easy for us to just look at a chart and say that yes, this person is born under Ganda Moola nakshatra. So the beginning of Leo sign, so the nakshatra Maga actually rules 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes of the sign Leo. And a person born in the first part of Maga nakshatra may not be inauspicious for himself, but he or she may be inauspicious for his or her mother. A person born in the second part of Maga nakshatra will not be inauspicious for himself, but he may cause inauspiciousness to his father. A person born in the third stage of Maga nakshatra will be having success in his life. And a person born in the fourth stage of Maga nakshatra would be extremely successful as far as his profession and higher studies are concerned. So remember, the first part, a person born in the first part of Maga nakshatra, inauspicious to his mother. The second part of Maga nakshatra, inauspicious to his father. Otherwise, no problem. So again, do not generalize. Just look at which part or which pada a child is born. The third Ganda Moola nakshatra is Mula, and Mula owns the sign of Sagittarius between 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So if a child is born in the first part of Mula nakshatra, again inauspicious to the father, not to himself. A child born in the second stage of Mula nakshatra, inauspicious to the mother, not to himself. A child born in the third part of Mula nakshatra, I'm sorry, did I say Maga earlier? So I apologize. We are talking about Mula right now. A person born in the third stage or the third part of Mula nakshatra may have problems resulting in loss of wealth and may have problems related to money. A person born in the fourth part of Mula nakshatra is so-so, not all that bad. So remember, first part of Mula nakshatra, inauspicious to the father. Second part of Mula nakshatra, inauspicious to the mother. Third part of Mula nakshatra may be inauspicious as far as his money matters are concerned. And fourth, if a child is born in the fourth part of Mula nakshatra, it's a so-so result. So not the entire Mula nakshatra is inauspicious if a child is born. The third or the fourth rather, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused here, I'm sorry. The fourth Ganda Moola nakshatra is Ashlesha, and Ashlesha owns the sign of Cancer between 16 degrees 40 minutes to 30 degrees. So that makes the entire 13 degrees and 20 minutes, this entire space. And if moon is on the Cancer sign between these degrees, it is said to be Ganda Moola nakshatra, which is Ashlesha Ganda Moola nakshatra. So once again, do not generalize. The first part of Ashlesha nakshatra is not inauspicious, but generally there may be problems related to wealth. So it's not inauspicious for other matters, only some problems related to wealth. The second part of Ashlesha nakshatra will cause problems to his brothers and sisters, not to himself. Sometimes some scholars say that it can create problems related to the wealth, but generally the second part of Ashlesha nakshatra, which is Ganda Moola Ashlesha nakshatra, is more difficult for his brothers and sisters. If a child is born in the third part of Ashlesha nakshatra, it will not be inauspicious for himself or herself, but it may cause problems for both mother and father, for the parents. And if a child is born in the fourth part of Ashlesha nakshatra, which is a Ganda Moola nakshatra, then no problems to him generally, but more problems to the father. He may have some health problems, but generally it's hard on the father more than on himself or herself. The fifth Ganda Moola nakshatra is Jyeshtha, and Jyeshtha rules the sign of Scorpio between 16 degrees and 40 minutes to 30 degrees. So that makes the space of 13 degrees and 20 minutes for that nakshatra. And in case moon is in Scorpio between these degrees, a child will be considered to be born in a Ganda Moola nakshatra, or a Ganda Moola Jyeshtha nakshatra to be precise. So in this condition, in case the child is born in the first part of this nakshatra, it will cause problems to his older siblings, not to himself. If he's born in the second part of Jyeshtha nakshatra, it will cause problems for his younger siblings. In case he's born in the third part of Jyeshtha nakshatra, it will cause more problems to his mom, actually, not to himself. Health to the mom will suffer, or mother will suffer from bad health. And in case the birth is in the fourth part of this nakshatra, this person will face problems in his own life. So these are the effects of all the four parts of the Ganda Moola nakshatra called Jyeshtha. And finally, the sixth nakshatra, which is Revati, is also a Ganda Moola nakshatra. And Revati rules Pisces from 16 degrees and 40 minutes to 30 degrees. So the space of, within the space of that 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So in case moon is in Pisces, between 16 degrees and 40 minutes and 30 degrees, a person is considered to be born in the Ganda Moola nakshatra called Revati. The first part again of Revati, of a person or a child is born in the first part of the Revati nakshatra, he's happy, no problem. Life, finances, health, no problem at all. If he's born in the second part of Revati nakshatra, he will be extremely successful as far as his work is concerned. However, there may be some problems related to property issues. A person born in the third stage of Revati nakshatra will be wealthy, but also in the later part of his life may have some problems related to his property and wealth and may lose it. So it's kind of a mix of auspicious and inauspicious effect. And if a child is born in the fourth part of Revati nakshatra, he will be having problems for himself. So it's not about being auspicious for himself. They may face struggles. Some scholars believe that they may also create problems for their close relatives, but some do not. So, like I said, do not generalize the effects. And what are the remedies? So let's talk about some remedies. The remedies, as per the pundits and the scholars, are that the remedies of the child has to be performed within 60 days of the birth of that child, and ideally the remedies have to be performed when the same nakshatra is coming, and every nakshatra changes to another nakshatra because it's 13 degrees and 20 minutes only, meaning which moon, since moon moves extremely fast, it stays in one zodiac sign for about 2 days, 2.25 days, and it stays in one nakshatra, which is 13 degrees and 20 minutes for approximately 1 day. So it keeps jumping from nakshatra to nakshatra for 27 days, every 13 degrees and 20 minutes. So ideally the remedies have to be performed by a Vedic scholar, and it has to be performed when the same, or when moon jumps into the same nakshatra as it was at the time of his birth. If it was in Ganda Moola nakshatra, in these four padas which are considered to be inauspicious, so be very careful whether he was born in an inauspicious pada or part of that Ganda Moola nakshatra, and when moon comes back within the next 60 days into the same nakshatra, then the remedies have to be performed by a Vedic scholar. Now what happens in case the parents may not have been able to perform the remedies within 60 days of the child's birth, then of course the Vedic scholars have prescribed that it can be done, but the remedies may not be that effective. However, it has to be done under the guidance or by a Vedic scholar only, but only when moon is in the same nakshatra at the time, or the same nakshatra as it was at the time of the birth of the child. So it can be done anytime in one's life in case the parents have not been able to do the Ganda Moola nakshatra puja or remedy. But the effects of those remedies may not be that much as if, or as compared to when the remedies may have been performed within the first 60 days of the child's birth. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you soon. Thank you.